Court documents that KLFY News 10 obtained show that Jacqueline Daisy Lynn Landry died from an overdose after snorting methamphetamine and shooting up heroin. Tonight's edition of Beyond the Jersey takes us to Abbeville, where two softball teams are traveling across the country and they're bringing home championships. If you want to get to the other end of the bayou, you've got to go about 20 miles out of your way. So we're going to see how long it takes us. It's about 3 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. This fire at the Mount Pleasant Baptist Church happened a week ago, the morning of April 4th. Again, 3 church fires in 10 days, predominantly African-American churches, and certainly a lot of relief today that a suspect is in custody and now behind bars. Absolutely, and we, of course, were on the float in the Independent Parade. We were live 24 hours ago and 23 hours ago where it was really cold and started to rain. So today was such a joy. It was a pleasure to be on that float today. A lot of folks around here are thinking back to August of 2016 and some of the lessons that we've learned from that. So many folks were getting the sandbags, we're preparing, we're moving the heavy items out of their yards, or turning down basketball hoops and flipping over trampolines and things like that. So better to be prepared. You prepare for the worst, you pray for the best, and hopefully it won't be too bad for too many people. There is a banner behind me that says American Energy Independence. There are also about 100 workers from Cameron LNG that will be on the stage behind President Trump when he delivers his remarks. Now, when the president gets here, he's going to do a very quick tour of the facility, and by tour I mean he's going to get to walk around for maybe 10 minutes. Do not try this at home. Now, I am down at the bottom of the coulee to show you just how big this project is. This is between 14 and 17 feet high. It's 20 feet across at the bottom, and then at the top of the coulee it goes 90 feet across. Again, this is just to show you just the size and scope of this massive project. That's right. Well, Pastor Toussaint was telling me that, of course, when they built this church in 1904, they didn't have the same codes and regulations that we have today. So it's going to be a process, but they'll certainly get it done. Speaking of that GoFundMe page that has been set up for these 3 churches, now up to about $2.1 million. Amazing. Now, this was the page that was set up shortly after the fires, and of course at first the page wasn't doing a whole lot. You were getting a few donations here and there, but then after that Notre Dame church fire in Paris, France, a couple people went on social media talking about the situation, and that's when the donations really started pouring in for the 3 churches. Of course, that money will be split between the 3 churches, and the pastors say that they're very appreciative of all the support from not just here in Louisiana, all over the country, all around the world. Now, as for the suspect in this case, Holden Matthews, he is charged with 3 counts of arson, also 3 hate crime charges. Now, he was denied bond last month. He is being held in the Catahoula Parish Correctional Center, and a pretrial hearing for him is set for July 17th. Interesting situation here. All of the pastors say that they forgive the young man. They say that there is not hate in their hearts and that they have to forgive him and move on. Right now, we're going to send it to the studio. News 10's Sylvia Masters with the news of the day. Sylvia. But Pio refused to accept the board's decision. News 10's Dalford Jones has more on how the superintendent plans to move forward. Thanks, Dalford. Now, the first time Pio was placed on administrative leave was in August of 2018 after allegations were made against him by former employees. An investigation followed. Pio was later cleared and returned to work. Assistant Superintendent Paul Hebert served as acting superintendent in Pio's absence. We have new information now on yesterday's police shooting and deadly standoff in Vidalia. State police have identified the suspect as 21-year-old Caleb Melton. Troopers say Concordia Parish Sheriff's deputies and Vidalia police officers responded to an apartment complex to find that Melton was wanted for an armed robbery. Gunfire was exchanged. Both Melton and a deputy were shot. Deputy Walter Macko is suffering from moderate to severe injuries and is in stable condition. Melton was pronounced dead at the scene following a standoff with police. There was another deadly officer-involved shooting last night at a Port Allen motel. State police are investigating. Troopers say a West Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's deputy fatally shot a man at the Budget 7 motel. Now, the family identified the man as 38-year-old Joseph Richardson. State police confirmed that a search warrant was carried out at the motel. A deputy discharged his firearm and struck the suspect. A Lafayette man is one of 2 former LSU students sentenced today in the alcohol-related death of fraternity pledge Maxwell Groover. They pleaded no contest last year to misdemeanor hazing charges. 22-year-old Sean Paul Gott of Lafayette and 20-year-old Ryan Easto of Butte, Montana were each sentenced to 30 days in jail. They were immediately taken into custody. Groover died of alcohol poisoning after a Phi Delta Theta hazing ritual in 2017. Groover's former roommate was convicted last week of negligent homicide. Another former student will be sentenced in October, and he faces up to 5 years in prison. Vice President Mike Pence saw the damage here at Mount Pleasant Baptist Church firsthand Friday afternoon. He offered the pastors and parishioners words of comfort and encouragement. Vice President Pence met privately with pastors and walked with them around what's left of Mount Pleasant Baptist Church near Sunset. He then took time to meet with parishioners, offering hugs and words of encouragement. He said what happened at the three churches was evil.
Your resilience and your faith and your courage in the wake of this unspeakable evil has inspired the nation.
The vice president says the president and country stand with the three churches destroyed. St. Mary Baptist Church in Port Barre on March 26th, Greater Union Baptist in Opelousas on April 2nd, and Mount Pleasant Baptist on April 4th.
And to see the way people here in these churches and this community and across Louisiana responded is an inspiration to the nation.
Yes. He also lamented the recent attacks at churches, synagogues, and mosques.
No one should ever fear for their safety in a house of worship anywhere in this country, anywhere in the world. And these attacks on communities of faith must stop.
Yes. The pastors told me they were happy to meet Vice President Pence, who offered his support.
To have one of the highest officers in America to come and support us means a whole lot to us. Know that we're not in this thing by ourselves.
He said that if ever we need his help, to call him. He left his cards, and I'm comfortable with that. And I believe if his heart is in the right place.
Vice President, I really received his spirit. I believe he's really concerned, and this was a great experience. And I think it's just the beginning of something that's real awesome and great.
All of the pastors say that they were encouraged by the vice president's visit. They say they will be in touch if needed. In St. Landry Parish, Rob Macko, News 10. The Esterwood Pontoon Bridge in Acadia Parish has been closed to all traffic since the middle of May. Now, the DOTD is repairing the bridge, but the long detour has been inconvenient for drivers. The bridge is located on LA 91, just north of the village of Esterwood. Here's more in a story that you'll see only on 10. The Esterwood Pontoon Bridge on LA 91 crosses Bayou Plaquemine Bruley in Acadia Parish. The bridge and operator house were damaged in the 2016 flood. The DOTD closed the bridge to all traffic in mid-May to make repairs.
When a bridge becomes inoperable, as that bridge is, we have no choice but to repair it.
DOTD District Administrator Bill Oliver says the project is about 75% complete. The wooden structure was repaired and the electrical components in the house were replaced. Crews are now in the process of replacing pulleys, cables, bearings, motors, and a gearbox. The bridge closure requires a lengthy detour, and a lot of residents are frustrated. If you want to get to the other end of the bayou, you've got to go about 20 miles out of your way. So we're going to see how long it takes us. It's about 3 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. We're going to use the stopwatch here, and we're off. We drove south on LA 91, then east on US Highway 90 toward Crowley. We're just getting into the Crowley city limits. We've been on the road now for 9 minutes and 40 seconds. We drove through Crowley, and our journey continued north on LA 13. We got onto I-10 West and got off at exit 76 and headed south on LA 91. We were lucky we didn't have any traffic or wrecks to deal with. And here is the bridge closed sign. And we are now at 26 minutes from one side of the bayou to the other. David Vidrine of Rain likes to fish on the north side of the bayou with his sons.
We have to come through the highway instead of 90, so it's not a big inconvenience. It's just add a few miles to the travel.
He says he feels for those who work on one side of the bayou but live on the other. Some residents have been calling for the bridge to be replaced instead of just repaired. Oliver says the Coast Guard requires the bridge to be operational. Replacing it would mean designing a brand new bridge and roadway.
We're actually going to have to relocate roadway. There's environmental issues in there. It's a lot more involved than just going out and say replace the bridge.
DOTD District Administrator Bill Oliver says the project costs $1.1 million. They hope to finish it before the July 4th holiday.